Our property is already fully saturated, and we've just had 2 nights of torrential flooding rains in a row. This has allowed us to see just how much water our property takes and how flooded our trails and the woods get after a big storm. The good news is that the house build site is high up and stays completely out of the water. And the trenches we dug to divert water around our garden is continuing to work very well and keeping the water out of our garden and channeling it to the small pond area in front of the putting green build. And the final positive note is that the survival shelter that we just finished building in the woods has stayed up through all of these heavy storms. And so with the property as flooded as I've ever seen it, I'm going to put on my boots and I'm going to hike all the way through the woods on our newly cut trails, and I'm going to go see what has me most excited in our driving range. And while part of the newly cut trail remains relatively dry, there's a lot of spots where we've just finished cutting that get completely flooded in rains like this. And the closer I get while walking to the driving range, the heavier the floodwaters seem to get. And as I walk out of the woods and into the driving range, I can see that the floodwaters are gushing out of the woods and into the field. And what gets me excited about this is that I'm able to fully visualize my long-term dream of building a bass pond just off the side of the field. There's a natural spring in the woods, and this is obviously the low spot where all the water congregates to. Therefore, keeping the pond filled with water should never be a problem. Another advantage of this location is that the ground is very flat, and therefore we would not need to build a dam. We would just need to dig as deep as we want to go, and we could use all that excess dirt to fill into the driving range area and try to keep that more dry. We could also take all that dirt that we dig out into the woods onto our trails and build it up into more of a road so that it's not completely underwater every time it rains. But the most exciting part about the possibility of having a pond here one day is the thought of having it stocked fully with bass and fishing whenever I want with the kids. And even though this is a project that we're several years away from even thinking about getting started, just being able to see a preview of what it might look like through the drone shots is going to have my daydreams working in overdrive. But thanks as always for watching, and we should be ordering the crushed gravel to get started building the base for our synthetic putting green next week, so be sure to subscribe and follow along.